Hi, welcome back to Pop Cultural Exchange. It's a podcast where, you know when you make your friend watch a movie that you either love or love to hate, and then you're sitting there and watching it, you're watching your friend more than the movie. And then afterwards, you want to talk about it, but they don't really want to, and they're like, it's just fine. But you're like, no, how is it fine? Yeah, it's that in podcast form.
Yeah, see, I would never do that because I'm not a shitty friend.
I do that on a daily basis, and now there's a reason, there's a justification. My name is Lin.
I'm Jay.
This is my victim and co-host.
Yeah.
We've been going through the Fast and Furious series, and I feel like finally we're turning a corner, and even though this is not representative of the rest of the series, I think some of the spirit of what Fast and Furious become is in it. And of course, this is the first one that Justin Lin is directing.
Ooh.
Yeah, so director change.
Okay. So when you say the series takes a corner, is it much like Paul Walker taking a corner during a race for the first time in Fast and Furious 2? Call back to the last episode.
Yes, very much like that. Well, I would say it kind of drift around a corner because we're doing Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, which is number 3.
And honestly, I didn't know that until right before the last podcast we did. I wasn't sure which one Tokyo Drift was. So.
Well, I mean, they don't help you with the naming, do they?
No, not at all. Which is, I guess, bad for me, but good for this podcast because I just look like a fucking idiot the whole time.
It's because they keep trying to reboot this franchise. Like, this is the first 4 movies attempt at making a Fast and Furious franchise 4 times.
I still don't know how the series survived the second movie because the second movie was just, it was tough. It was really tough to get through.
It almost kind of didn't because this is, as you know, just from osmosis, this is an entirely different cast. So this is very much a soft reboot.
So confirm no Paul Walker in this one?
Yes.
No Ludacris?
No.
No Bilkins?
No Bilkins.
Bilkins, who's rapidly becoming my favorite character in the franchise?
Push Bilkins!
Love Bilkins.
But no, we're following an entirely different gang of misfits. So, is there anything else you know about this?
No. The only things I know are, you telling me that, yes, somehow this is still canon. So is this kind of like an offshoot of people that somehow show up later in the series, or do you not want to answer that because
I don't want to answer that.
Okay, yeah. Okay, understood. So basically, I just fucked myself.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, well, basically, that's the subtitle of this podcast. Pop Cultural Exchange. Jay, go fuck yourself.
Honestly, that's what it feels like so far.
Oh, come on. You enjoy hating on number 2.
Yeah, I kind of did. Like I said, like we discussed in the episode last week, I was way more into watching the second movie because I couldn't believe how bad it was. I wouldn't say I enjoyed it, but I was into the content more than I was the first one.
I can't promise you the writing or the dialogue or the acting would improve in this, but there's certain je ne sais quoi that Justin Lin bring to the show.
All right. At least tell me that there's better chemistry with the lead characters than there was in the second movie, because there was none. Absolutely none.
I cannot promise you that. Actually,
right.
There are characters that they're bringing in that you'll really love, but it's... Okay, I don't know how you'll react to this. I don't want to call out your opinion. The main character of this movie does nothing for me, even though I really like this movie.
Okay.
And of course, the fact that it's set in Tokyo as well has a special place in my heart because I love Japan.
We've been together. It's a beautiful country. We've had a lot of fun there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We and a bunch of other friends visited Japan together. We didn't go on like a romantic trip to Japan. Which, I keep asking, but he wouldn't come with.
Well, I mean, that's at least that's what we told your girlfriend, right?
Yeah. Basically, during this film, at some point, I'm just going to be pointing things out and be like, remember, Jay? Remember when we went there?
All right, cool. I'm down with that.
Yeah. I'll maybe put up some snaps throughout the video as well. Slowly turn this episode into our like vacation pick.
Yeah. This has all of a sudden become went from a movie review to a slideshow of our holiday.
Yes, yeah.
People love to watch slideshows of other people's holidays.
Look, I also may have subtly brought because I organized that trip and I organized a lot of the places we went. I may have also subtly brought you to a lot of the locations that were in this movie.
All right. So this has been a stitch up for a couple of years now.
Oh yeah. This is decades in making.
Shit. All right. Well, you're gonna see a much more frustrated face on my face come the pointy end of this review.
Oh, I think you're gonna enjoy it. To celebrate this being set in Japan and to celebrate our past Japan trip, we're drinking Strong Zeros, the 9% highballs that we're always day drinking in Japan.
We're going to be pissed again.
Can you drink on the streets in America, Jay?
With very few exceptions, no. Okay. You got Vegas and New Orleans, and that's really about it.
Okay. So in Australia, you definitely can't. There's a thing called open bottle law. You're not supposed to have an open bottle on you in public. That's not the case in Japan. You can drink anywhere, including the subway, which we took advantage of to the fullest.
Very literally. And the faces of the people going on about their morning commute at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Double fisting highballs.
Stupid tourists sitting next to them with really, really tall highballs, just being idiots. Yeah, we really did a lot for, making the locals and the tourists...
Yeah.
Interact well.
Yeah. To be fair, we weren't like obnoxious or anything.
No.
We were just like drinking.
We were very respectful. As respectful as a bunch of people can be drinking highballs at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
Yes.
The worst we do is like taking a bunch of bitches.
Yeah. That's yeah.
So anything else you want to say about this movie before we get started?
Well, I know nothing about this movie, so I really can't say too much.
You know much about drifting?
No. I mean, I do it in Mario Kart, but that's about it.
Oh, I mean, yeah, it's pretty much the same thing.
Oh, cool. All right, sweet. So we're going to watch an hour and a half of Mario Kart.
Yes.
Cool.
All right, excellent. All right, let's get to it.
All right, let's do this. Cheers.
Cheers.
Ready. Set up.
Go!
It's called drifting.
What do you mean, drift?
Yeah, and we are back.
We are back.
We just watched that movie.
Yeah, we did, and yeah, it was not shit.
What an astounding review!
Well, I mean, to be fair, my standards are so lowered after Too Fast, Too Furious. Too Fast, Too Furious really bothered me in so many ways, and I actually found this movie to be quite entertaining.
That's good, because I'm going to need you to do a lot of the content on this, because I was so enjoying the movie that I didn't take much notes. But I have a lot to talk about.
Oh, good. So I'll just do the legwork for this podcast.
I have a lot to talk about. We also kind of have a themed evening, didn't we? Because we end up drinking a lot of highballs.
Highballs.
And we had Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
And off screen we have the crew. Some of the crew that went to Japan with us.
Yep.
They watched the movie with us. They also slightly drunk. Yeah. That's racist. If you didn't hear, she said ni hao.
Yeah, it's way off.
Okay, tell us how it's done.
So, Jay.
Yes.
Overall, like you like this better than the last one.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, to be fair, without the shoehorned racing bits in, it didn't feel like a Fast and Furious movie.
Right. Yeah. I feel like it definitely has its own identity in a way that if they didn't call it Fast and Furious and Vin Diesel didn't show up at the end, they could have just called it, like, they should just call this movie Tokyo Drift, and you would be like, oh, this movie is clearly inspired by Fast and Furious in some way. It would have been Talk.
Yeah.
You've seen Talk?
No.
Okay.
I'm just blindly agreeing, so you don't make me watch Talk.
Oh, I will. I will make you watch.
Is that what's his face? Fucking no hair guy? British no hair guy?
Jason Statham?
Yeah, Jason Statham. That's
No,
it.
you're thinking of Transporter.
All right.
Talk is like very much inspired by Fast and Furious movie, and at some point there is a fight in which people hit each other with motorcycles while riding said motorcycles. There was a motorcycle kung fu fight. It's so good.
Fast and Furious, but with bikes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
There's some cars in it. Let's stop talking about talk. Okay.
No, I want to talk about this still. So, like, is there like a Fast and Furious with boats?
This is called Speed 2.
Is there a Fast and Furious with motorized scooters? Like, I want
to Fast and Furious with old people, which is called Wild Hogs.
Yeah. Oh, John Travolta.
How far the mighty have fallen.
Oh.
Okay, so let's quickly go over the plot of this movie. This time I'm gonna do it because last time it took you 20 minutes to do it.
Yeah, because I did such a good job.
So the basic premise is our hero Sean is a fuck up.
Well, and hero is a...
Well, yeah.
Our fuck up, Sean.
Yeah, our Western viewport into the wild and exotic culture of Tokyo, Sean. He's repeatedly fucked up by racing for nothing, just being baited into fighting over women. That he got his third strike by wrecking like a partially built suburb in a race.
A construction site. Yeah. So basically at that point in time, I thought, by that point in time, I knew that he wasn't the Paul Walker character. He wasn't Brian O'Connor from later on. But I'm like, this is dollar store Brian O'Connor, right?
Right. Well, it's like if you baked Brian O'Connor and Dominic Toretto together in an oven, but didn't set the time quite right, so it didn't came out quite right.
It came out with a really, really over-the-top Southern accent.
Right.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So he fucked up so much that his options were jail or Tokyo. And immediately we're like, how do we fuck up so much that we people send us to Tokyo?
I'm gonna go street racing after this and get sent to Tokyo.
So yeah, he go to Tokyo. He does not change his shtick at all. He immediately do the same thing again.
Within 2 seconds, he's a part of the racing subculture of Tokyo.
Right, but in Tokyo, they drift. They don't do this like bullshit muscle race.
Life a quarter mile at a time.
Whatever he was doing, wrecking up unbuilt suburbs.
Drawbridges going up and jumping over other cars midair. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
In the process, he get into debt to Han. And in the process, he starts slowly walking for Han and drifting. And there's not much from there. He has to learn to drift, and then he earn the affection of the only other non-Japanese, the non-Japanese, non-black people in this movie.
Well, yeah, he earns the respect of her, but more importantly, he earns the respect of the fishermen at the docks.
Right. We'll get back to the fishermen at the docks. They're more important than they seem, Jay.
Don't tell me that's a thing later.
Oh, they're back for 9! The fishermen are back! No. But
nothing would surprise me at this point.
But Han, who helped him out with the not quite Yakuza, kind of like Yakuza peripheral guy he got into trouble with. Yeah, DK, Donkey Kong / Drift King. Han is his business partner, but he take our boy Sean under his wings, not his arms, and take care of him. And eventually, it turns out that Han was ripping off DK, and in the process, there was a big race, get killed, and it all, surprise, surprise, had to get settled in a giant race.
Honestly, I hate myself for not noticing straight away, like, oh, this ends in a race, right? Like, I forgot for a solid minute that this was a Fast and Furious movie.
That's how good this movie is.
Yeah.
This is not a good movie.
Well, no,
we just love it.
It's not how good this movie is. It's how the bar was lowered after 2. Exactly. It's just... it was not bad, which after 2 means it was great. Anyway, sorry, yeah. Han died.
Yeah.
And then there's the duel.
Yeah, there's the duel which he which he managed to arrange after appealing straight to Sonny Chiba. And man, this is the beginning of the trend for Fast and Furious movie in which they somehow con actors and actresses which are way above the franchise to somehow show up and have a great time chewing scenery.
I had to pause the movie in the opening credits when I saw Sonny Chiba's name. I'm like, you're fucking kidding me. Sonny Chiba's in this movie?
You did. Jay made 2 double takes at the beginning of this movie. One, which is like, says Bow Wow. He's like, Bow Wow in this movie? Second time, you're like, Sonny Chiba is in this movie?
But for completely opposite reasons. Like, Bow Wow, I'm like, oh, fuck, I haven't heard that name in 20 years. And then Sonny Chiba, like, they got Sonny Chiba? Sonny Chiba and Bow Wow in the same movie, you have to realize is batshit insane.
Right? Thankfully, they didn't share a single scene together. So anyway, so that's pretty much the end of the movie. They managed to settle it all in a big fancy race down the Chichiba Mountains, and of course, our main character Sean wins using sheer power of American muscle.
Yeah.
And
his
grit.
father accepting him as a fuck up.
Yep.
Because his father's also a fuck up. Yep.
So that's pretty much the plot. So where do you want to start?
Oh man, I mean, first off, let's start at the very end of the opening credits. This fucking high school that they're in. All right. First off, it seems like the worst high school in America.
Right.
All the classes are really, really like you're either a super jock or you're a super car nerd or you're the guy getting his fucking belly painted and shit like you're very much one thing. You just there's no room for moving around this high school. Like,
no.
You show up day one, you're this person, you're just that guy.
But yeah, definitely. Yeah. But you know what I appreciated though? They show the metal detectors and the security screenings, which American movies featuring high schools pretty much never shows. Like they never tackle that aspect of American school, which have become like real fucked up, right?
I mean, to be fair though, I that was never my school experience. Right. I mean, it could be the part of the country I grew up in.
Well, this is also 2006.
Yeah, true.
Like I
know the joke you're about to make too.
Right.
Just go for it. Just fucking say it.
This is like a decade after you went to school, man.
There it is.
At least one every episode. That's my promise.
You can set your watch to it. Lin makes fun of Jay being old. 10:23 every night. See the text I get. Alright, so you know how else I knew this is the shittiest high school in America?
What?
It had the shittiest son from Home Improvement on it.
I was checking the trivia session for notes before, and it says that, and I'm like, this is not relevant. But then you were watching the movie, and you're like, that's the son from Home Improvement.
That's a stupid older brother from Home Improvement.
Apparently, he got really into cars in the process of Home Improvement, that he wanted to like be in this.
Yeesh.
Oh, and the other thing is that scene where they go through that metal detector and him like waving and do the penguin mascot in Sword and Shield, and the penguin mascot like slow motion winking back. That could be a Blink-182 music video, right? Like anybody set that scene to any Blink-182 song and it would fit.
I'm picturing my head and it works.
Yeah, it works.
Bang on accurate. Yeah. It's like the guy, all the small things. Yes, I see it. I 100% see it.
All the small things, true care, truth brings.
I mean, how great of a shit stirrer was Barbie in the Barbie and Ken duo?
She's the worst person.
I honestly kind of dug her after that. Not in like a she's amazing. Like That's actually kind of a fucking badass stance to take.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? If you love me, erase me. I don't give a fuck. Win the race.
Winner gets me.
Yeah. Yeah.
To a point where I start to feel bad for this like shitty jock, shitty Big Ben Jr. If you don't follow American football, look up.
No,
Big
don't
look up Big Ben. But he does look like he could be Big Ben.
Oh yeah.
And what is he, like, generic sports guy? He's in football gear and he threw a baseball at Sean's car. And I started to feel bad for him, right? I'm like, dude, grow some self-respect. Like, if your girlfriend is like, oh, you gotta win me in a race against this guy, just drive away. But he's not that guy.
No. He has no self-respect. But I really dug that race scene as well. Like, obviously they're going to shoehorn a race in that. Like,
Right.
That one I called straight away. that one, as soon as the ball went through the back,
You're like, let's race for it.
and they're like, looks like they're going to fight. Like, they're not going to fight. They're going to race.
Yeah. Well, they were almost going to fight until they realized that Sean was packing a wrench. Ooh. They were like about to beat him up 4-on-1, and then suddenly
there was like 10. It was a football team. There's 11 aside, and 53 in the whole team.
Okay, like there was like 4 guys walking towards it.
Yeah. If they wanted to get Dulles or Paul Walker, they would have got him. Like, they're not gonna let a wrench stop that.
Right, exactly. What does it give him? Like 3 extra inch of reach?
Yeah. But no, the girlfriend had to step in and be like, yeah, don't mess up the face of the guy I really want. Let's just race. How about that?
And that race was pretty good. It destroyed a lot of shit.
They destroyed a lot of property.
Yeah.
Including a really expensive car.
I presume the home improvement son was building up these. That's how he got a cameo. He had to build these houses.
Tim Allen comes out after the instructor's like, oh, not a fucking again.
And then we went to, of course, they all get arrested. And then great scene of him trying to still pick up the girl with his blood, his teeth covered in blood.
See, I can't tell if that was him, trying to pick her up, or that him just taking the piss at the end.
He doesn't have enough personality to be taking the piss.
I don't know. I think he has a little bit of shit stir in him. Where
he does.
Yeah, honestly, I could see that being in character.
And then we meet the worst cop, who's like, he's aware of the inherent unfairness of the system, and he loves it.
It's like, see those rich people? I'm not even going to touch those rich people.
They're going to get off.
See you?
I got you, motherfuckers, and you poor.
You broke ass? I'm going to make an example of you. And I'm going to perpetuate the system.
And there's like low-key implication that the mother is like swapping sexual favors for his release.
It was to the point where basically the cop walked out of the office with his fly still down.
Man, that room is like 1/4 glass. I don't think there was anything happening there.
Yeah, no, they made him watch. They're like, you see what your mother does for you?
Look, I bet there is a cut in which the cop like does his fly out after walking out of that scene.
Let's watch the Justin Lin cut and see if there's anything different.
So their solution is jail or Tokyo.
Yes. Usually when I fuck up, they're like, oh, would you like to go on holiday or to prison? I'm like, oh, well, obviously prison.
Definitely not Tokyo.
No.
But immediately, right? And what impresses me throughout this movie is they didn't shoot all of this on location, but clearly all of this is shot in a way that respect what Tokyo looked like, the vibe of Tokyo, what Japan feels like.
It definitely had the vibe going on. It definitely felt like it was very immersive. And again, another thing I liked about the movie is very immersive.
And like, I know this seems like a low bar, but if you watch a lot of blockbusters, you would be surprised how much people fuck up. Just like saying like, oh, this is in Mexico now. And it's just like, no, this is Los Angeles.
Yeah, just with the yellow filter.
It's a car park in Los Angeles. Oh my God, the yellow filter.
Yeah, the Mexico yellow filter. Just like the Moscow blue filter.
Even Breaking Bad did the Mexico yellow filter.
They definitely did the Mexican yellow filter. Yeah, exactly. They didn't just put a filter on like, oh yeah, Japan.
Right. and like recognizable places, and how shitty the dad's place is.
Yeah. Actually, that was pretty on point. Like,
Right,
that was,
yeah.
Like, there was actually a lot of detail in that.
Yeah, we were staying Airbnbs in Japan on all our trips, and yeah, that makes sense.
Again, it really, really captured the vibe, and it became.
And the dad, even though he has a shitty little apartment, he was in the middle of Shinjuku, right? He must be paying through the teeth for that.
Oh,
thing.
yeah, that wouldn't have been cheap. And especially, if he's got hooker money to go around.
That's what I was going to ask. You think that's a girl he picked up or a hooker?
Hooker.
You think?
Yes.
I think American doesn't do well. Foreign people do well in Japan, but Japanese people definitely do not like American. Especially
Justin Lin, if you're watching this right now, in the comments,
I'm gonna tweet at him.
Yeah, tweet at him. Dude, Adam.
15 years down the track, some guy on Twitter is gonna be like, "Hey, is that a hooker or
hooker
a girlfriend?"
one night stand?
Hooker one night stand. Yeah, definitely not a girlfriend. No.
Yeah, no. It's definitely not a date. I mean, it could be a drunken.
Yeah, I was thinking
one night stand, maybe.
Like,
but no, it's a hooker.
He seemed to be living in the bar area of Shinjuku, so maybe. I don't know. Look, I'm just saying, I'm willing to give that dude, like, he's well built, he's a silver fox. I'm willing to think he has some game, okay?
I don't know what that actor's name is, but if you're watching right now, we'll put Lynn's home phone number right here on the bottom of the screen. It's just gonna be Jay's dick again, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right.
We're gonna put your number.
Please don't do that.
Alright, let's move on from the silver fox.
So he kicks the hooker out and then brings him in like, oh yeah, you know that bed we just fucked in?
Yeah. As soon as he says, you get the bed, I'll take outside. I'm like, you mean the bed you were just fucking in like 30 seconds ago?
Just waiting for like pick up a used condom. Yeah. All right. So, anyways, he goes to bed. He wakes up, and what's waiting for him in the morning?
Your train leave at 7 a.m. Because that's a good enough note for somebody whose first day in Tokyo have to catch a train to school.
You figured out.
And I love how he's like consulting like a touristy map.
Yeah.
That's not good enough.
It doesn't even give any information. Like, what school? Like, what station? Like,
well,
just give me something.
Even if you assume they have discussed that all off screen, that note is real stupid. But somehow he finds his way there. Only a few minutes late.
Yeah. And he walks in and is immediately shouted at in Japanese.
Doesn't speak Japanese.
Does not speak a word of Japanese.
Yeah.
Is shouted at in Japanese for a very, very simple request.
Well, to be fair, she asked him in Japanese if you speak Japanese. And he's like, he nodded.
Okay. So you didn't chat. So Fast and Furious 2, Too Fast, Too Furious. I translated all the Spanish for you.
I don't speak Japanese. Well, I just understand the phrase, do you speak Japanese?
Oh.
I like Nihongo mean Japanese.
Next topic. This is around the time I really noticed how terrible Sean's accent was.
Oh my god.
It's really, really hammed up his southern accent. Like they took a guy who had a face like Hugo Weaving and they put
Do you think he looks 17?
No. He looks no.
How old do you think he is at the time?
32?
He's 24. That motherfucker doesn't look 24. They hire somebody who looks 30 plus to play a 17-year-old, even though he's 24.
They pulled a total Luke Perry with that one. He comes in with his forehead wrinkles and his gray hair.
To be fair, nobody in that high school looks 17.
Yeah.
At least that's more believable than like the Spider-Man bullshit where everybody else is a kid except Tobey Maguire, who's a grown-ass man.
I haven't seen those movies either.
I'm taking notes. But yes.
Yeah.
Do you remember what I called him? He is essentially the Huckleberry Finn of racing.
Right? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what he is. He's like he all he have is that homespun southern wisdom, and he's like, I don't know much, man, but I know good hard work. Oh, I'm just surprised he didn't call anybody the N-word at some point.
Start whitewashing Han's car.
Read Huckleberry Finn. There's a lot of N-word dropped in that.
Yeah. All right. So, one of my favorite parts. Who is Sean's first friend at the Japanese school?
Oh, I don't know if he's a friend. He's the one who's trying to like sell Sean a thousand things, but it's Bow Wow.
Bow fucking wow.
Is he going by Little Bow Wow at the time, or is he at that stage where
I
he's
think
like, call me Bow Wow?
I think it's proper Bow Wow. I think like 2000, 2001, that was Lil Bow Wow.
Yeah.
And then he just grew up and yeah.
Look,
and he
I
became Bow Wow.
think if a motherfucker is gonna play a 17-year-old in a movie, you can't be like, don't call me Little Bow Wow. That's insulting. Like you're gonna play a 17, you're still little.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. He should have reverted back to Lil Bow Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
But he's good in this though. I enjoy him.
Yeah, he's somewhere between Ja Rule and
Right.
Ludacris.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Yeah.
I was not gonna give him Ludacris, but it's definitely like 3 steps above Ja Rule.
Oh, I mean, yeah, pretty much anyone would have been 3 steps above Ja Rule.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't take much. Ja Rule is an awful lot. Well, here we are, the 3rd movie, and I'm still talking about how bad Ja Rule was.
But yes, his little like gig economy hustle persona, love it.
Yeah, no, that was great. That was great. Like he really, and that helped him. That helped later on the movie, kind of get him into the gang.
Yeah,
it made him fit. You know, he had a role to play in that gang.
Yeah, and his little speech about like, oh, all these women like sick of the tryhards, and at the end of the day, when you're tired and is not want to stop fronting, who do you come to? The little guy who makes him laugh. Yeah, he has a little scam going.
Oh, we jumped over a little bit there because I mean we missed the whole Sean immediately getting sucked into the racing underworld of Tokyo. Right. Like it took him a good 10 minutes before he went from new guy in the block to like.
He was completely uninterested, and then he saw the steering wheel.
Yeah, exactly. And then all of a sudden, 5 minutes later, he's racing the Drift King of Tokyo.
Wait, before that, Little Bow Wow, what do you think of his car?
Oh, the Incredible Hulk car?
Yeah.
That was a good reveal, actually. Because you knew you're going to get something ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as they started, playing it up, you're like, okay, this is... It's not going to be some fucking... He's not going to have a souped-up Nissan Skyliner or anything. Yeah. It's going to be something ridiculous. And I was not expecting an Incredible Hulk car.
With the Mohawk, Wallbreaker Hulk, is a deep dive for Marvel fans. It's a very specific version of Hulk that he's representing, and I love it.
It was good. It was good. That was a very, very good reveal. And
to anybody who was seeing that little car elevator thing and is surprised or find it unbelievable, those are real things. Yeah. Those are real things in Tokyo. And when I did exchange, my host sister like parked her car in those to go daytime clubbing in a black out warehouse. Those things are real, man.
Let's see. So the Hulk car.
Yeah.
Then next thing, they go to the first race. The first race in Tokyo of the movie. And it was good to see that the Fast and Furious still are keeping up the whole trend of the eye candy.
Oh, yeah.
Like, every race opens with tits and ass shots.
Right. Short
skirts, low tops, cleavage, skin, barely dress women.
Does it say something about us, or does it say something about Japan, or about the movie that it seems less egregious when it's in Tokyo?
Oh yeah, I mean, we've both been. We've been to Harajuku, and
It's because I think like we've seen live that like sometimes people deliberately show up to certain places to show off and dress certain ways. Right?
So maybe we see it as more of a cultural thing than
maybe
an exploitation of the female body.
Well, it's not just that. I think it's because in the first, not just in the first two, later ones as well. There's a lot of Asian woman in those scenes, right? Because of the car scene, especially the underground racing scenes and the souped up car scene. What I imagine for people who are in those circles, realistic cross section of racial representation, but to us it jumps out. Like it seems like a lot like fetishization to have that many like scantily clad Asian women. And maybe it's just realistic because in the Tokyo scene we just feel like it's normal. Like we walked through Harajuku, we walked through Akihabara, and we've seen girls dressed like that.
And you know, I was 100% on board with everything you just said until 2 seconds later, where Bow Wow hands Sean a box of tissues and says, "In case you blow your wad."
Oh no, I'm not saying the movie did it better. I'm saying it seems less egregious during the setting, considering the setting. But what do you think about Sean at this point in this movie?
He's a bit dim-witted, but also he's a bit passionate.
Yeah,
like I don't hate him as a character. Like I don't mind him as a character. I think he's a bit kind of hammed up in the slow Southern boy kind of thing. Like that they could have made him a bit more streetwise. But I mean, at the same time, he handles himself pretty well. So right, I don't mind it.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I think what annoyed me about him at that point is that he just wouldn't get out of his own way.
Yeah.
Like I feel like in this situation I wouldn't be fronting that much.
He does front a lot.
Yeah. Like he to be fair, I think he's just too dumb to understand what the Yakuza is.
Yeah, but also he's streetwise enough where he can kind of...
It's all about ego with him. It's all about pride.
That's
like,
what
he just... Yeah.
Exactly.
Which annoys me because I'm like, take a step back and study a scene a little bit. You know, like get the guy you hate back in some other more subtle way.
So, speaking of the guy he hates...
Yeah.
Guess who makes a return appearance for Fast and Furious 3? It's our old friend Johnny Tran.
It's not Johnny Tran, but it's also like you look at Johnny Tran and you say, "Hey, can I copy your homework?" Yeah, sure. Just change enough. Just change a little bit.
That's what the teacher doesn't know, and that's how we get what's his face?
I don't even remember. It's a DK.
Yeah,
but I don't know his real name.
Yeah, no one knows his real name, but he just calls himself like, "Oh yeah, I can draft good, so just call me Draft King."
Drift King.
Oh, Drift King, Draft King. Yeah. So he meets the new Johnny Tran, DK, and they become the best of friends immediately, and then the credits roll, right?
This guy's worse than Johnny Tran, I think.
Yeah. I mean, as far as criminal activity, yes, definitely.
I think Johnny Tran seems to be like... I guess Johnny Tran got pissed off simply because Dom and Brian was in his territory, but I see that as a lot more reasonable for a gangster than how DK act in this movie just because somebody is talking to his girlfriend / adopted sister.
Yeah, that
we'll discuss that slightly later.
It got really Pornhub from there on.
But yes, at that point, we didn't know that fact yet. At that point, it was simply his girlfriend.
Yeah. Although she didn't really seem to like him, but obviously there was a reason that they were together.
Right, but that's a fucking common trope that happens all the time, right? Yeah. Like, the girls seem too nice for the guys to a point where you're like, why are they even together? But it's a trope I hate. Because
it's lazy writing, is what it is.
Yeah, and I know. It happens all the time in real life.
It's an easy device that writers use.
Right, exactly.
To be like
I don't care
why is she with him? Yeah. We don't like that person. Yeah. We want them to... Right,
especially when the person is so nice in comparison. Yeah. I hate that. Like, if a show will show that the character is also flawed, and you can see exactly why they will stick around. For this movie, to be fair, Neela doesn't get that much characterization, but she just seems too good for this to be sticking around with this guy.
To be fair, we just described every rom-com.
Right.
Like, we could have just said a generic version of that last rant, and we could literally been talking about any rom-com movie.
Right. And this is back in 2006. It's still happening today. Like,
Oh, absolutely.
there was a recent Netflix show where I was thinking the same thing. First season of Stranger Things, that happens.
Yep.
But yeah, so we have that race for her. And this is my least favorite part about the movie. I know he can't drift. I'm willing to accept that. I know he's not used to drifting, but the scene where he's like, what's drifting? You race cars. You need to know what drifting is, even if you can't do it properly, and even if you can't win a race entirely centered around drifting. Right? Like,
Yeah. Like, you game on PCs, and you're like, oh, do you have an Xbox? What's an Xbox?
right, exactly.
It's just, yeah. All right. Back to the notes. What do we got? The introduction of Han.
Yes.
I loved the introduction of Han, and I loved Han as a character, and I loved the chemistry between Sean and Han.
Yes.
I thought that was fantastic. It was the exact opposite of Paul Walker and Tyrese.
Yeah.
It was great. Absolutely great. Another thing I loved about this movie, and again, I'm only loving this about the movie because the bar was set so
but
unbelievably low.
I think Han is a great character.
Yeah, Han was awesome.
And you know, he's actually a universe jumping character because Justin Lin has a very successful indie movie called Better Luck Tomorrow, and Han is a character in that movie named Han. So he just liked the actor and the character he plays so much that he just recast him in this movie, same character name, and like the cheeky implication is that, hey, maybe they're in the same universe.
Well, I was about to say, is Better Luck Next Time in the Fast and Furious universe?
Well, nobody else has crossed over yet, but the only thing they changed is Han is
is the operative word.
Yet is the operative word.
Yeah.
The only thing they change is Han is a chain smoker in that movie.
Okay.
But this is a PG movie.
He's a binge eater in this movie.
So they can't have him chain smoking because that will crank up the rating. So they have him binge eating. The implication is that he has quit since then, and he's picked up a different vice for this.
Right. So it is definitely canon then. And I could expect that in Fast and Furious 9.
Well, we have to watch Better Luck tomorrow.
All right. Speaking of which, how was Fast and Furious 9?
Oh, yes. What people don't know is I have seen the last episode, seen Fast and Furious 9. It's so good, Jay.
When you say good, do you mean like Oscar-worthy?
Whenever I say so
masterpiece?
good about a Fast and Furious movie,
You mean
all the qualifications are there. It means like if you have learned to love these characters, if you have learned to love the escalation and the ridiculous shit they get up to, man, it escalates. And like, I'm so jealous of you, Jay, for being able to go through 1 to 9 in a row in quick succession like this time, because I watched 9 and I'm like, I'm real glad I'm doing these podcasts and just recently rewatch the early movies because...
Well, you know, I may have had another part of Fast and Furious 9 spoiled for me the other day.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So you would have heard.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So I was every now and then I do radio announcer shifts at a local radio station here in Brisbane. And the show that was on after me is actually a pop culture interest show called, what was it? To Infinity. It's called To Infinity. And during the changeover...
Do you know what they're referencing?
To Infinity and Beyond.
Oh, yes. Okay, good. You've seen Toy Story.
Well, I was there when they played their theme music at the beginning and heard that part. But anyways, during the changeover, I was asking them, oh, what's your show about? And they're talking about the pop culture nature of their show. They do pop culture reviews and they talk about movies and a lot of things that are kind of happening in the pop culture space. And I happen to mention this podcast. And they're like, oh, stay on, pitch your podcast. So I stayed on, and I started talking about how we were going to the Fast and Furious movies and how they were getting increasingly more ridiculous as we went through. And the girl Winona on the show was like, oh, yeah, number 9's in space. And I'm like, oh no, spoilers.
She hasn't seen it, to be fair. When you guys did that podcast, it's not out yet.
Oh no, it was yesterday.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
I don't know if she's seen it. It's not set in space.
Okay,
Which is what
okay.
she said, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not set in space.
And then when I was driving home from the radio station, I was listening to their show, and they apologized to me on the show after I left because they started talking about how it is potentially the case that the Jurassic World franchise
Right.
finds its way into the Fast and Furious universe.
So this happens a lot because Justin Lin, director of this movie and the director of a lot of the rest of the movie, though not all, he get interviewed about this or any other projects, and people always try to work in a stupid question about Fast and Furious because they know the franchise revel in stupidity and escalation. So they always ask questions like, would you cross over with Pacific Rim? And he's a fanboy as much as I am of the movies he shoot, and he know what people love about it, and he always never closed the door on any of these stupid questions. He always like, yeah, why not? He's like, yeah, Vin Diesel will get in a giant robot if the opportunity arises. And recently somebody asked that question about would you cross over with Jurassic Park because both are owned by Universal. And he's like, yeah, of course. If there's a good story, I would. And I appreciate that. But at the same time, every time he does it, all the clickbait news outlet are like, oh, maybe Fast and Furious is going to cross over with Jurassic Park. Well, no, the director is open to it, but he's just a director. He doesn't own the rights. But also at the same time, I totally watch that.
All right. So what other Justin Lin properties are there out there that he could probably...
To be fair, Jurassic Park, I think Justin Lin has directed one of the movies. It's not a Justin Lin property.
It's a Justin Lin joint.
He's done a Star Trek movie.
Whoa. Is that how they end up in space? The final frontier?
Yeah. The final frontier. Beam me up. Beam me up, Spock. Beam me up, Scotty.
Does Vin Diesel boldly go where no man has gone before?
Oh, you have to watch Chronicles of Riddick for Vin Diesel boldly going where no man has gone before.
Oh, I gotta watch more stuff. All right.
But anyway, well, you'll get to 9, and I'm really looking forward to you getting to 9. I'm really looking forward to this escalation, and yes, hopefully, Fast and Furious keep crossing over with ridiculous stuff.
All right. Well, back to this movie then.
Yes.
Back to the Han introduction again. Big fan of Han, and just the nonchalantness of Han.
But here's the thing, right? I've never discussed with you about Han before. Like, I personally love Han. All our circle of friends who love Fast and Furious, they all love Han.
Yeah.
He just naturally clicked. You see him for like 10 minutes and you're like, I like Han.
Yeah. It's the nonplussed nature of how he's just like, meh, let's see what the kid got. Take my car.
Yeah.
And knowing full well he's just going to fuck the car up.
Yeah. Although I don't think he was prepared for how much he was going to fuck it up.
Yeah. He's like, it's cool, man. I'm having my noodles, man. Just chilling.
Yeah. Just eating these chips.
Yeah. And yeah, dollar store Paul Walker fucks his car up pretty good. And dollar store Johnny Tran beats him in the race. Yep. And thus sets off the chain of events that really builds this movie out. And man, great concept. I mean, obviously you see the fact that, what's his name? Sean fucks up the car. So obviously he's going to be working for Han, and then they become mates. And then like,
that happens very quickly.
Yeah, but I mean, it's obvious the progression. Right. But you know what? It was still an enjoyable progression. Right. Like, yep, Sean is in debt to Han. Yep, Han and fucking DK, they have static. So you know what? He's obviously going to use them as a tool to get into DK's head. And you know what? The whole thing just works. It really, the chemistry, and it was written well enough where I could just sit there and enjoy the ride.
Han carried that into action.
He did.
And the only unrealistic portrayal about Japan and Tokyo they had is when Sean goes to collect for Han in the hot springs.
With the sumo wrestler?
Yeah. With the sumo wrestler, all the guys are wearing towels.
Oh yeah, they
Which, I mean, I know why they have to, because this movie is not R18+. You can't just have 20 guys hanging dong. But that's not how it works.
there would a lot of penis.
Yeah, the towel they give you to take into the hot springs
Wouldn't cover that microphone.
yeah, it's like this big. It's smaller than most hand towels. Like, I've been there multiple times, and I've been there with friends, and one of our mutual friends tried to walk in with his towel, and the guy's like, oh, no, you leave that in the locker.
Yeah, man. Gotta hang dong.
Yeah. So much dong.
So much dong. If you weren't friends before, you'd be friends after that.
The most unsettling thing is when you finally get into the hot water and you're relaxing and you're like, oh, this is good. And then suddenly, every once in a while, the guy who's sitting opposite you would just duck underwater. You're like, whoa, where you going? And I'm not. I swear to God, I'm not making a homophobic joke. It's just alarming when you're not used to public nudity, and then you're just on like high alert, and then whenever people around you make a sudden move, you're like, "What's happening?"
Yeah, no. Well, exactly. When senses are heightened, every little movement is like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Like you're like a frightened cat.
Yeah. And I know it's because we have more of a puritanical views on nudity, but still, it's funny.
It's
funny.
It's us, not them. But also,
But yeah, I thought that was really funny.
Yeah. So probably the only product placement that I really, really picked up on this whole movie, because again, the first two movies, heavy product placements. The only one that really stuck out for me was our old favorite, the old Motorola flip phone.
That's true. Yeah. Motorola phone. But though they do talk about Air Jordans and iPods as well in this.
Oh yeah, but those are passing references.
And NOS come back.
NOS always NOS on a motorcycle.
Yeah, that guy's gonna die. That's just an immediate death trap.
It's a suicide machine. Yes.
So this movie was made in 2006. Remember that.
Yep.
We'll come back to it in a few episodes. But the flip phone.
That's ominous. Yeah, the old Motorola flip phone. I'm pretty sure I still have mine somewhere. Like if I went through a box of my stuff in my parents' attic, I'd almost guarantee my old Motorola Razr would be in there. And it kind of made me miss it. You know, the old flip phone, they're pretty cool, man. And you know, product placements don't normally work on me, but this one worked to the point where if I had access to a flip phone, I'd probably get a flip phone.
I think the flip phones are coming back, man.
Are they really?
Yeah. I think a major company recently was manufacturing a flip phone. I can't remember which company it was.
Motorola, send me a flip phone. Please.
We're gonna need to get more than double digits viewers before.
All right. More people out there, watch the video so I can get a free flip phone. Please.
But even Motorola, they leaning into their meme, throwback identity.
I mean, dude, that's 15 years ago. You can get nostalgia after 15 years, man. Yeah, dude, it's about time that shit came back.
But you know what I like about the flip phones is the little zoom in and zoom out of like pixelated phone screens to actual screens.
Yeah.
They do a good job in there.
Yeah, man.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, do you know immediately the visual flair that Justin Lin brought to this franchise? You know, like they all just popcorn action movie.
Yeah,
but this
course.
one have a visual identity.
Yes.
Like first two movies, you change the name, you slot into the other racing franchises. Like if it weren't for Vin Diesel or Paul Walker, like it could fit in anything. But this one, it start to have that identity.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it was very, very immersive.
There was, in the early race scene, there was this CGI close-up of DK swinging the tail of his car around, like inches from the wall, which you turn around to me and you said, this is much better than 1 and 2.
Oh, God. Yeah, it wasn't like the intro to Doctor Who.
As soon as they get in the car, the side mirrors are just like lights going by. Oh, so that's one pop culture thing you remember, the fucking Doctor Who theme song.
Yeah, I can have one thing, right?
I'm still watching Doctor Who.
Honestly, I've never seen an episode.
Oh, yeah, Jesus.
I can know what a theme song is, though.
That's true.
Yeah. But yeah, no, the CGI was a vast improvement. Again, just everything that I really found difficult to swallow in the first movie is, in number 2 is not present in this. So I am actually thoroughly enjoying this.
Yeah.
Again, my next note was good chemistry. Good chemistry between Sean and Han.
Yeah.
It felt like they became buddies.
Yeah.
It wasn't like Tyrese and Paul Walker like just forcing their way through dialogue and pretending to go into a bit of a competition over Eva Mendes and stuff like that. Like this felt good.
And even Neela and Sean,
good chemistry. Yeah.
Separately, they not much, but whenever they together, when they bounce off each other, and I think you would buy why these two characters would gravitate towards each other in this foreign country, right? And I love Han's line. Why can't you just find a nice Japanese girl like all other white guys in Japan? Which is really realistic because they have chemistry, but I'm also like, come on, man, don't go after any girl who isn't a Yakuza girlfriend.
Yeah. But out of everyone in this movie, Han is the character that could stand up on his own.
Right.
Every other character needs another character to really, have some, bring something to the table. But Han I could watch an hour of Han on his own, right?
Yeah.
Like, he didn't need anyone else, but he worked very well with everyone that he worked with.
So, do you have any notes before we talk about the learning drifting scene?
So exactly how fast do you have to be driving to evade the police in Japan?
Oh, they said over 180.
180. So,
180 kilometer per hour.
So,
by the way,
if you
Americans,
if you want to break the law in Japan, all you have to do is be in a car that can go above 180 kilometers per hour, and you'll get away.
This might be a big surprise to a lot of American listeners, but globally, police do not generally do car chases.
Right. I should be committing way more crimes.
But here's the thing. So, you could commit crimes, but you have to stop at some point, right?
Yeah.
Like, the police chasing you while you're driving down the highway just put more people in danger.
Okay. Fair enough. That is a fair point. I do get that.
So, what we mean we don't chase is not like they give up and you get a free crime. What we mean is they're not going to chase you down on the highway because that's just, unless they believe you are actively dangerous and potentially on your way to commit more dangerous, deadly crime, or if they think you're drink driving, like reckless driving, they will not chase you down because they're going to put more people in danger.
All right. So it's not like they're sitting there following like 175.
Well, that's what this movie.
180. Not guilty.
That's what this movie wants us to believe, which is like it's simply because the cops' car aren't fast enough, which is, I guess, makes sense, realistic.
But yeah. Anyways, one of the things I noticed in some of the Fast and Furious movies, when they go to a party and they go through a room and they leave the party, but then they go into another room and it's just like another party with more women.
Yeah.
Like, they go to one party.
It's a VIP lounge.
Yeah. All right.
The champagne room.
Okay. But then they go through that, and then it's the garage.
Right.
Like, okay, this is something you like? No. All right, how about this? Do you like the more women? Huh? It's okay, but he's underage, so. How about cars? Oh, now we're talking. Yes.
Sometimes they go through a room and they come up in the VIP room. Sometimes you end up in the Buddha torture room.
The Buddha torture room.
But a lot of the time, you will walk past some lesbians making out, which
not a lot of time. every single fucking time.
I don't know why Fast and Furious keep doing this. Do they think they be inclusive? Are they? I don't think I'm qualified to judge. But they keep putting it.
Every single fucking movie so far. And it's like, what a provocative thing, you know?
To be fair, so far they still haven't had any like main characters like comment on it or gawk at them yet.
There was gawking in this one, wasn't there?
No, he walked straight past. Well, we don't even see his reaction because he's behind the camera.
Oh, okay.
The camera just pans. Yeah.
All right. So now I think we're into Drift Train.
Right. So what do you think?
The Red Evo, it's yours, and then boom.
It's a montage, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, you gotta have a montage.
Right.
Yeah. So the fisherman, that was a great litmus test for the montage.
Yeah.
So it starts off like, oh, look at this fucking idiot.
Yeah.
And then by the end it's like, all right. And, as professional fishermen, we are in tune with the drift racing community, and we're able to judge those who drift race. So as long as you have our blessing, then you can go on to the drift racing circuit. That's what I got from that scene.
So two things about the fishermen, right?
Yep.
So one thing
they're in Fast and Furious now, aren't they?
Well, first thing
you didn't say no.
I didn't say no. Celery man fishing by the riverside is very realistic. Mm-hmm. We have encountered that in multiple occasions. My first ever trip to Japan, exchange program in high school, I woke up early, I looked out the window, and I saw a celery man with a briefcase, which I assume just have his documents in it, walk up to a riverbank, sit down, like he opened his briefcase, and he took out metal parts and start assembling it until it eventually become a fishing rod.
I thought you were going to say he opened up as just full of worms.
It looked like a hitman's briefcase, and he just slowly putting out metal parts, and it become a fishing rod. And then,
he's a hitman for fish.
He put his briefcase under his butt. He sit down. He's just fishing, right? And when he caught a fish, he put it out and he put it in the briefcase, and then he collapsed his fishing rod back into the briefcase and left. And if a genie give me 3 wishes, I have to waste one of those wishes, like asking to talk to that guy. Like, what is your life like? This is like 6 a.m. Are you going to work now with your suitcase full of fishing gear and fish? If not, why are you wearing a suit?
He's like, bro, what are you fishing?
I don't understand. Second thing, that the guy in the blue jacket, he's the real Drift King.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's the real Drift King of Japan. Yeah. So that's his cameo. And so that's his on-screen cameo. And he did a lot of stunt driving in this scene as well. In this movie as well. He did a lot of stunt driving for Budget Johnny Trang / DK and the main character. And there were points in which he was doing drifting stunt driving for the main character. And Justin Lin, you have to keep communicating to them. You're driving too well. You have to let the tail spin out a little bit, because at this point, Sean is not that good at drifting.
He's been drift racing for like 20 minutes. It's not that good of a montage. He didn't get that good that fast.
So the phrase DK and Drift King, it came from his nickname. Like, he is the real Drift King, and
he's actually the real Donkey Kong.
The real Donkey Kong, yeah. And that line Han said about drifting being perfected as a sport in those mountains that they were practicing, Chichiba Mountains. That's also true, based on his real life. He perfected drifting as a sport in those mountains, and I don't know if you heard of the anime Initial D. It's a very highly influential racing anime in Japan.
Okay.
And it also made its way into a lot of like car guys watch queues here. Like, if you're a car guy and you're an Initial D fan.
If you're a human that's also a car, write in.
If you're a Transformer, if you're an Autobot,
let us
roll in.
Bumblebee, hit us up.
But yeah, like a lot of car guys, they love this anime, and that anime take place over the same mountainous pathways of Chichiba Mountains because it's all based on the real DK's life story.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he was a delivery driver, and then he became the drift king.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I actually like that little tidbit of information, and that adds a lot to the movie for
Right,
me.
yeah. And so, like, for the people, there was a little nod to the, like, people in the know, right? Which is, like, really obscure. And that happens a lot with Fast and Furious, especially later, in which they, like, they will put things in that, like, they know it's not for the majority audience, and they'll just be like, for the 20 people's, like, who will appreciate this, you know, here you go.
Nice.
And, like, it adds a lot for him, like, approving Sean's progress, right?
Totally. That's cool.
Yeah.
I really like that. Wow, I was not expecting that out of the fisherman story. Good montage.
Yeah.
So clearly Sean's in town for about 3 days, and all of a sudden he's a drift expert after a very serious montage.
Well, there's a escalation. Sean moved out of his dad's place and moved in with Han and the crew.
Well, first off, how does Dad not know about all this shit already? Like, to this point, is he just willfully ignorant? Like, on day one, Sean comes home late. And
well, he seemed like a deadbeat, to be fair.
Okay, yeah, that's actually that's probably more like it. He's just a shitty father. Cool.
Yeah.
No, actually, that answers all my questions. Yeah. I can close that note out.
And I love the little, like, capsule that they sleep in and clearly boning in that they're trying to imply. Which I lived in those capsule hotels when I was in Japan. I don't know what kind of boning you're gonna. They like a coffin, man. Nobody's gonna have fun. There's
definitely a fetish for that.
keep your knees and elbow inside the ride at all times.
I'm just planning out the logistics in my head. I feel like this is a challenge.
Yeah, no, definitely.
All right, next trip to Tokyo, then.
We're getting separate capsule beds.
What about fuckboy hair?
Oh, yes. A lot of fuckboy hairs in this.
There's a lot of fuckboy hair in this.
The blonde sidekick to
Dollar Store Johnny Tran. Yep.
Yeah, he definitely have a fuckboy hair. And in the Japanese school, a lot of, like, spiky hair. And we were discussing whether or not, like, when we went back to Japan, the last time you and I went on the same trip, that was in 2019, right? And I went again in 2020. We just travel a lot, okay? I don't just keep going back to Japan and over again. So we still see those kind of hair around, and we're discussing whether or not it's gone away and come back, or whether or not just stay there. Like, it was just, that's how it is. That's how it stays.
We're not nearly enough on trend to know the difference. So
right.
Again, if you have fuckboy hair in the comments below, please let us know if this is a new thing or if fuckboy has just been on trend for the past 15 years.
There are people who criticize my hair.
Oh, you have Supreme Leader hair.
Wow. Okay. But yeah, my own mother says that. He says it reminds me of Kim Jong-il.
Oh. Ouch.
I know.
Oh, the duel. Oh, did I skip ahead? The duel? Like, what is before the duel?
Which duel? The
final duel. I'm getting to the end of my notes here.
the big chase scene is the big chase scene in which Han explodes, man.
Oh, that's the duel I'm thinking about.
Okay.
I'm not thinking about the duel at the end.
Okay. So yeah, let's get on to that. Yeah.
Oh fuck yeah, Han dying. That sucked.
Well, I know, right? Because it's like our favorite character in the movie.
I know. It was like back when Game of Thrones was good. When, like, someone you were like, when what's his name? Oberyn. When Oberyn died, that's how I felt when Han died. I'm like, No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Why? You're carrying
He
this.
exploded.
He exploded very quickly too.
Yeah.
Like that car went from upside down to explosion like that.
Yeah.
It was. Oof.
He was T-boned by a random car as well. Which, to be fair, I mean, you can only tempt fate so many times.
True. But I mean, so many things had to line up. Like, first off, DK just waited way too long to use his gun.
Right.
Like he waited till the very end, like, oh yeah, gun. Fuck, I forgot I had that.
Yeah.
I could just kill these people.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the unrealistic part about that is him even having a gun. Because I know he's connected, but even in Yakuza, the Japanese gun laws are so strict that gun crimes are almost non-existent in Japan. That's why a lot of like Yakuza gang wars are stabbings and beheadings. And like, he's not even real Yakuza. He's a nothing fuckboy.
Yeah,
Where did he get it?
He's diet Yakuza, yeah.
Yeah. Does he even have bullets? Like, maybe that's why he's saving it. He has like 6 bullets.
It's actually just wood the whole time. So he's just making the noise about chick, chick, boom, boom, pew, pew, pew.
But yeah, he definitely opened fire on Han.
Yeah, but getting to the real Yakuza, Sonny motherfucking Chiba.
Yeah.
Hell yes. Again, as Lin mentioned earlier, somehow they managed to sucker Sonny Chiba into being into this movie.
He's clearly loving every scene he's in.
Oh, absolutely.
And every time he shows up, and this is what redeem DK's character, right? He's such a obnoxious shithead in the rest of the movie. But as soon as Sonny Chiba shows up, he's shitting his pants.
Yep.
Which is good. Like, it was actually not only is accurate and reasonable of Sonny Chiba's presence, it also retroactively redeemed DK's character, that he is stupid enough to front his uncle.
Yep. But he is stupid enough to not know that that his partner was stealing from him.
Yeah. Oh, I love that little dialogue setup. So good. Because he's like, Sonny Chiba's like, I'm a simple man. I don't understand math. This is all nonsense to me. And he's like, he's getting cocky. He's like, it's all pretty simple.
He's like juggalos with the magnets. Finances, how do they work?
And DK is like, yeah,
it's okay, old man.
It's okay.
You're just stupid.
It's all not that difficult. It just looks more difficult. And then he drops the bomb. He's like, even I know your partner's stealing from you.
You simple bitch.
Yeah. So that's what lead to Han getting offed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Han.
And DK second in command also eats it.
Yeah. Fuckboy here.
Yeah, he really eats it. He ruined like 4 other people's afternoon in the process.
The thing is, like, he gets into one accident, and then, like, a couple seconds later, another car comes in. Now, like, another 5 seconds pass, another car just, like, careens into him.
And then, like, going.
And they're sitting there, and then the other cars come by, and the other cars pass, and then, like, another 6 seconds later, another car comes through. Like,
why aren't these cars braking?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I bet they're still piling up now. 15 years later, they're still piling up on
Not a single word exchanged about his death after the fact.
No.
Not even DK is like, you killed my friend.
Yeah, no. It's like, oh, fuckboy here. I won't care.
Yeah.
Did he even have a name in the movie?
He did, but you keep calling him fuckboy hair, so we can't remember his name.
Good enough.
So it all leads to the confrontation with the dead, and he's like, some of our friends who were watching with us didn't buy this scene. He's like, why would you let Sean go and be like, oh yeah, go solve this on your own? But I think it all makes sense when you realize that the dead is a real fuckwit. He seems like the guy, which is what happened in this movie. He seems like the guy who would realistically be like, oh, you are going to take responsibility and like do some sort of homespun wisdom thing that I am going to actually ignore what I'm supposed to be doing, which is putting your safety and your well-being up front. But you're finally being a man, you 17-year-old motherfucker, after getting involved with the Yakuza, taking responsibility. Yeah, you go do that.
Oh, exactly. He's like, son, listen, You fucked up everything in your life up to this point. And at this point in time, if you fuck up again, you're going to get murdered. So this is the perfect time to send you out on your own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because he's like, no, Dad, like, finally I'm taking responsibility for my own action, which means nothing. It could mean that, like, he's about to go kill a guy for some reason he conjured up in his head. Like, that conversation meant nothing without details, but he's like, oh, take my car, whatever.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure if that dad has a number one dad mug, that he bought it himself.
Yeah.
No one is buying that mug.
His hooker friend bought him as a joke. It says number one daddy.
Oh.
But yes. So do you want to? Do you have anything to add before we go to the setup for the final race?
Well, I mean, there was man versus car.
Yeah. That blonde guy should have been dead a long time ago because he tried to stop a car by yelling at it.
Yep, I forgot about man versus car. The drift of Shibuya.
Yes.
Oh, how good was that?
Yes, it's very good. So in Japan, we did a go-kart thing.
Yeah.
They're not officially allowed to call it Mario Kart anymore, but basically it's go-kart of us in costume.
Generic Asian costume
kart. Yeah. And they have to get rid of all the Nintendo costumes.
Yep, they had to get rid of all the Nintendo ones. So I was Goku.
Yes, and I was Stitch.
I remember that. Yeah, that was awesome.
So a group of us did that, and our course, because how much I love this movie, because I organized the whole thing, I make sure I pick the cars that take us through the Shibuya crossing.
Yep.
And as soon as that crash happened, Jay is like, it's all clicking to his head. All my machination of past years.
Lin's been grooming me, apparently.
But yeah, how cool is that? Like the silence and the crash through the Shibuya crossing.
Yeah, that place is not silent. You would not have been able to get away in time. Like those people would have been just flung all over the streets.
Yeah. To be fair, we didn't drive through the people in Shibuya crossing. We waited. We had to wait until the Shibuya Scramble, the famous 8-way crossing, stops. And we're all driving through, and all the pedestrians are waving at us. It's great.
I was trying to be an Uber. I was trying to see if people wanted rides anywhere.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You were waving at Japanese girls. Being like, when we were stopped under overpasses, Japanese girls are waving and laughing at us because we're all dressed in costumes and being dicks. And Jay's like, "You wanna come down and hop on? You can hop on the back of my friend." And they're like, it's having a great time.
Yeah. So Sean is presented with a choice next. Yeah. He, Bow Wow, he meets up with Bow Wow, and Bow Wow's like, yo, get the fuck out of town. They're going to kill you. Yep. What does Sean decide to do?
He chose the death spot. He's like, look, I'm gonna resort to the cause and the solution to all of my problems, racing.
I can't believe I didn't realize immediately how they would resolve the unfinished business.
He said out loud, motherfucker, when he said a race.
He's like, yeah, how do you resolve this beef? And they're like, oh, why don't we just do the same thing we do every fucking movie? Solve every problem with a race.
What do you think about that final race?
The final race. So there was a slight montage with the Shelby, which I quite enjoyed. But yeah, it was DK's Mountain, right? Yeah. This was DK Mountain from Mario Kart. Yeah. We've all raced that track, but DK is the one that owns it. Yeah, sure. Yeah. He's throwing banana peels out and shit. And, riding the barrel up. Yeah, exactly. We all know about DK racing. I
also like the visual metaphor of the Shelby, the tough American exterior, the culturally appropriated engine, Japanese engine inside. With the training he got from a Korean guy living in Japan.
Exactly.
Great.
Yes. But I mean, the race is pretty good. Again, that was it was a well shot scene. Like Justin Lin did a very, very good job in making sure that this scene was very well done.
Yes. Oh, and one scene we forgot to discuss where they like Neela and Sean were flirting in the same mountains, where they like drifting in unison, but set to like soft music.
Yeah.
And like they like it's almost like gymnastic, like rhythmic dancing.
Yeah.
Drifting.
That
was good.
Fucking with cars.
Yeah. It's just foreplay with cars.
Yeah. It definitely was foreplay.
Yeah.
It's just the tip.
Yeah.
Just the tip.
And that scene was good. Like that, I bought that scene, and all the drifting scenes is good. And I love how it's all set on the same mountain, because the exact opposite, this one, like fucking big, splashy orchestral music and big booming voices. Yeah. Same place, now a deadly race.
Yeah. It's again, very well shot, very suspenseful. And you could really feel DK's desperation. Like he wanted so hard to get Sonny Chiba's respect.
He has so much more to lose.
Yeah,
right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Like, I mean, Sean was going to lose his life, but DK had so much more to lose in the grand scheme of things.
I mean, Sean hasn't been using it well.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, Sean doesn't make another 6 months after this movie. Don't tell me he shows up in later movies.
Which one? Sean?
Yeah.
Oh, you'll have to wait and see, buddy.
All right. Well, I mean, so I guess we can talk about the next scene then. Like, we talked about the race, and obviously Sean wins. Surprise, surprise.
What do you think about the part where Sean makes it around a bend of the mountain before DK rolls down the mountain? I know he's not free falling, so it's not really like gravity versus race.
But still, apparently the Nissan Skylines just are lighter than air. But yeah. So the Skyline starts careening down the side of the mountain, and Sean comes by, and then all of a sudden he's just there again.
Yeah.
And has to dodge the car. And again, like for the build up for it, it was a very quick just goes around him. That's it. It's done.
Yeah.
So I feel like they could probably done more with that.
Right. And
maybe like he keeps rolling down the hill to like the next roundabout.
Yeah.
And like
if he roll past the finish line, does he win?
Yes. Yes, he does. So why don't we just do that from the start? Just drive off the side of the cliff and hit the finish line head on. Win every race.
Right. You might not be alive.
But then you have Sonny Chiba's respect.
Yes.
And isn't that worth more than life itself?
And at the end...
Sonny Chiba, if you're watching.
Sonny Chiba give him his respect. And, says something to his adopted niece.
By the way, you no longer have to fuck your stepbrother anymore.
So that's real messed up, right? So that's the part we didn't discuss, that the fact that Neela was taken in by...
Pornhub logo.
Yeah, Neela was taken in by DK's grandmother and was raised like... We don't know how old she was when they were taken in, though, but the implication was real young.
The implication was there's a lot of, hey, stepbro, get out of my room.
But here's the thing, right? In Japan, it's also pretty common to adopt your son-in-law or your daughter-in-law, especially if you're rich. Like, it happens with more son-in-laws than daughter-in-laws, especially if you're rich and you want your family line to continue. You don't have any sons. Like, I think it happens with I think it's Toshiba. Like, it happens a lot, and it's famously happened with the Toshiba company, which has been passed along to son-in-laws who have the same last name because they keep adopting them. So do you think it's more culturally... Like, do you think if a Japanese people watching it, they wouldn't blink at them?
Yeah, fair enough.
But it's different though, right? Because she's adopted and raised as if they're brother and sister. That's the implication.
If she was adopted from a young age, that would be a bit weird. If they were dating and then adopted, that's different. I
definitely don't think they were dating before she was adopted. I think For me, the difference is like, how old was she? If she was like 7, that's fucked up. If she was like 16.
I think she's young enough where there's no age where this is okay.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
Like, just doing the math in my head, I'm like, oh, none of this is pleasant.
Especially because he's older.
Yeah. Oh,
Like, he's not in high school anymore.
yeah, true.
Like even Han said, "What is it with you and high school girls, man?"
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. No, that's not okay.
yeah. This is messed up.
Yeah, it's like, oh, yeah, no, oh, gross.
Yeah.
No, it's
Not
the more
not
I think,
only he's after high school girls, he's like after sister high school girls.
yeah, the more I think about this, the more I'm just disgusted by it. You're like, here's your adopted sister, and then brother's like, dibs. And it's fucked.
Anyway, so the movie concludes satisfactorily for you,
Oh, whoa, we didn't talk about the conclusion yet, did
right? So that's why I was leading into it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
all the self-sustained plots wrapped up nicely for
we?
you.
Yeah, yeah. And they finish off,
Yeah.
surprise,
Mm.
with a race.
Yes.
Or
The beginning of a
the
race.
prelude to a race, in which they tease that a friend of Hans wants
An
to
old
race.
friend of Hans.
An old friend of Hans
Yeah.
wants to race Sean.
So he shows up, and you see the car first.
Yep.
And then the music change.
And as soon as the music goes Latin, I'm like, well, there's Vin Diesel.
Yeah. Right?
Yep.
And then they pull out, and my favorite suggestive dialogue exchange, I didn't know he was into American Muscle. He was when he was rolling with me. Was Vin Diesel and Han fucking? Was that the implication? Because if you really think about that dialogue...
I didn't think that at all.
Oh, okay, maybe I'll just need to step back from my fan fiction.
You took my joke. Damn it.
I'll just return to slash
That's it.
fiction.
I got robbed. There goes the notepad. No, I still need that. Actually, no, I'm out of notes.
But yes, what do you think about Vin Diesel showing up at the end?
I wasn't expecting it until, like, the second I heard the salsa music, I'm like, oh, of course it's fucking Vin Diesel's
Yeah.
gonna be at the end of this.
Yeah. Do you know why that happened? Because this was supposed to be, once again, just like the second one, this was supposed to reboot the franchise.
Yeah.
And they screened this movie for audiences, like preview screenings, and the audiences are like confused and hated it. They were just like, this is not Fast and Furious. Like, well, none of the Fast and Furious characters are here. And this doesn't feel like Fast and Furious. I definitely do not approve of the feedback they got. But you can see how your run-of-the-mill people are thinking at the time, having only seen the first two movies, right? The only connecting line between those two movies was Paul Walker. And he's not even in this movie.
And to be
it's
fair-
not even
wait.
set in America.
You also had Bilkins. Bilkins was a...
Bilkin's gone, man. You gotta deal with it.
I want the Bilkins spinoff. I want the Bilkins spinoff.
But yes, so that scene was added because all the audiences were like, this is not a Fast and Furious movie, we don't like it. And they thought asking Vin Diesel to come back will fix it. So much so that Vin Diesel...
For one line?
For one line at the end, just to connect the universes, to show and imply that Vin Diesel could be back for future movies. You know what they had to do for that? So at the time... You know, do you remember Pitch Black? Have you seen Pitch Black?
What's Pitch Black?
It's a sci-fi, like a horror movie in which Vin Diesel...
You can just assume I haven't seen it.
Okay, so Vin Diesel plays like an alien man. It's like a horror movie in which Vin Diesel is like the
based on a true story.
unlikely heroes. But he's called a Furian. His race is called a Furian in that movie. So it could be set in the same universe. Furious?
I feel like-
Furian?
Everything is just in the same universe now.
But it's not really. I'm just making a joke. But he is called a Furian in that movie. But Vin Diesel loved that movie. It's his pet project. And there was no sequels planned. I don't know if they completely give him the right, which seems unlikely, or just agreed to let him do the sequel, Riddick. But that was the agreement. He came back to be able to make a whole new movie that he wants. But yeah, so that's how he made it into this movie.
Okay. And again, it felt like it could have been a standalone, non-Fast and Furious franchise movie if they really wanted to be.
Yes.
Like, it had the feel.
But would you want a direct sequel to this? Would you, knowing that Han is dead, would you want the next adventure of Sean and Twinkie and Neela? Maybe
not.
DK will come back for revenge.
Probably not. Han made this movie for me.
Right.
Like, he just glued all the pieces together, if you know what I'm saying. And I don't know if it works without him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like without Han, it's Too Fast, Too Furious.
So in a way, the audience is causing Universal to run scared and dump a pile of money in front of Paul Walker and Vin Diesel to come back. I think that makes that was a good choice by the shitty audience, right?
All right,
because at least we get them back, because this was an attempt to reboot. If it wasn't for that reaction, I don't think they'd come back.
So if this is their second reboot, that means the first reboot was a second movie. But why would a second movie require a reboot?
Right, but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
It's called Too Fast, Too Furious. It's clearly a soft reboot. They're clearly trying to like steer the franchise in a Vin Diesel-less direction, right? Yeah. Like if the second one had a direct sequel, it's going to be Roman and Eva Mendes' character is coming back. Maybe Bilkins will come back. Maybe your wish would have come true. But that would have been the direction they went, right? Yeah. Like they changing direction with every movie is my point.
Yeah, I guess they really seem to put a lot into this for something that only had one or two movies at the time. That the fact that they're thinking French.
Trying. That's the thing.
Yeah, exactly. The fact that they saw that like, oh, we'll just franchise the shit out of this.
Right.
Really kind of blew my mind.
Yeah. Against all evidence, they were convinced that they had a franchise on their hand.
And joke's on us now.
Yeah. Because Too Fast, Too Furious wasn't financially or critically successful. This movie, we liked it even less financially and critically successful than Too Fast, Too Furious.
Yeah, right.
So, but they were convinced that they had a winner. They kept trying. Like even some of the YouTube comments we're having is like, people who are going through the series for the first time with us, they like, I can't believe this became a franchise, a successful franchise.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I remember when I heard about 3 coming out, like, oh, that's still happening?
Yeah. So, and this refreshed you? You're excited for the next one?
I am. I knew going in that 2 was going to be a tough pill to swallow, and it was a tough pill to swallow. But I quite dug 3. There was a lot of characters that I could really get into. The racing was shoehorned, but it was a lot more. It was more well done. Yeah. It was really well executed, and
it's still stupid as fuck, but it's like fun stupid.
But it was again like the things that saved it were the character chemistry, the better effects, and the fact that it was so immersive. Again, Tokyo, very immersive. It felt like you were there. I really enjoyed that.
I think it bodes very well for you that the elements of you, things you like, are like, this is not well acted, but you're valuing like the chemistry between characters better than like good acting or like really exemplary dialogue, right? They're saying like basic things to each other, but they have chemistry. Like that is the tone and selling point of the Fast and Furious, and I think it's good that you like that, because going forwards, we're going to get more of that. Saying that, I don't like Fast 4.
Okay.
Like, I don't...
Don't give me too much to go on. Like, I want to go into this as blind as possible.
Okay.
Because there might be things I like about it, and I don't want that to be clouded.
Yes.
But also, I'm going to go in fully prepared. This can be a steamy pile of shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. My personally, and also you shouldn't be colored by this, because my opinion of this is not necessarily reflected by the fan base. A lot of people would say 4 is the turnaround point.
Okay.
Like a lot of people would say 4 is when the franchise gets its footing. Mm-hmm. But for me, I keep going back and forth between 2 and 4, which ones I prefer more and less.
Okay.
And I think and this is so meta, like it's not even have anything to do with the movie. I have swung back to enjoying 2 more because how dumb it is, how bad it is. And I think 4 is just not bad enough to be enjoyable like that.
Does it take itself a bit seriously, or actually should we just not cover that now? Because I personally think it takes itself more seriously than the later movies. Okay.
But how much the later movies not take it so seriously, that might not even mean anything.
All right.
But I'm excited because we're pretty sure we're trying to record the next 2 back to back. Not that it will matter to you guys. We will still release it by weekly basis. We're just trying to get some in the can just in case. So that's really good for my peace of mind because I want to hit you with 5, which is one of my favorite ones, immediately after 4.
Okay. I'm in. I'm down.
Okay, so anything else to add before we close this up?
No, I'm out of drink, so...
All right, cool.
Yeah,
so,
my highball's empty, so we got to wrap this up.
Excellent. Love Tokyo Drift and into the next adventures of the family.
All right. What's number 4 called?
Fast and Furious.
That's right. Fast and Furious. Cool.
Hey, they're trying to reboot it again.
I feel like they're doing that every fucking movie.
Yes.
Every movie is a reboot.
For the first 4 Fast and Furious movie, each one tried to be its own reboot.
They tried this 4 fucking times, and now they're at 9.
Yes.
All right.
So use this franchise as a motivator. Anybody who have a stumbling block in their life, try again, and try again. And maybe you'll get 9 fucking movies. And dare to call yourself a saga. Alright? Good night, guys.
Bye, family.